Hola amigos, bienvenidos. Hi friends, welcome back. This is episode 37. And on YouTube, episode 37, we talked about reflexive structure. So that's what we're going to practice during this episode of the podcast. Now let's kick things off by just reminding ourselves, what is reflexive? Well, just like we talked in the episode, we know that is someone is doing something to one's self, okay? And it could be combing your own hair or brushing your own teeth or putting on your own clothes. That's really when we use reflexive structure in Spanish. And in order to use reflexive structure, we need to use reflexive words that show it's being done to oneself. And so we always put that little small word right there in front of the verb. And so I kind of want to go over those reflexive words really quick. What word do I use to say that something is being done to myself? You probably said me. And what word is used to say something is done to you? And that is te. And which word do I use to say something is being done to himself or herself? And that is se. And what if something is being done to ourselves? Nos. And if we're in Spain and we're saying something is being done to you, plural, yourselves, what do we use? That is os. And finally, what do we say if someone is doing something to themselves? More than one person. That also is se. And just as a quick reminder, we know that we use se when we're using the usted form of the reflexive and also the ustedes form of the reflexive. We also use se for those. All right, so I want to do two different practices on this podcast episode. First one, I want to take the verb llamarse, which means to call oneself. And so we want to use llamarse. I'm going to call out random phrases, basically using all 10 of the basic subject pronouns. I'll say it in English. You translate it to Spanish, okay? So the first one is, she calls herself. That is, ella se llama. Ella se llama. You could have just said se llama. Okay? And the next one is, we call ourselves. And that is, nos llamamos. Nos llamamos. And yes, you might have said nosotros. Nos llamamos. That's great too. Now, you call yourself, but now I'm talking to one person and I'm going to use the respectful usted form. So you call yourself. That is, usted se llama. Se llama. Next is, they call themselves. That is, ellos se llaman. Or just se llaman. And now I call myself. And that is me llamo. Me llamo. All right, now let's do a plural form of you. Let's use the you form that they only use in Spain, which is vosotros, and say, you call yourselves. And that is os llamáis. Os llamáis. Now he calls himself. And that is él se llama. Se llama. Up next, you call yourself. And I'm talking to one person here. Let's use the tú form this time. And that is tú te llamas, or just te llamas. Up next is they call themselves. Let's use the form that talks about boys and girls mixed. And that is ellos se llaman, or just se llaman. All right, let's do one more in this section. You, plural, call yourselves, and let's use the ustedes form. And you should have said ustedes se llaman, or just se llaman. All right, and that wraps up this first practice. Now let's use the verb mirarse, to look at one's self. And I'm going to just use random pronouns here. Okay, so first of all, she looks at herself. And that should be se mira, or you could have said ella se mira. All right, we look at ourselves. And that is nos miramos. Nos miramos. Up next is you look at yourself. And that's the usted form. And that is usted se mira, or just se mira. Up next is they look at themselves. Let's use the form that is only talking about girls, if you're going to use that pronoun. And that is ellas se miran, or just se miran. I look at myself. And that is me miro. Now, the vosotros form, plural, you look at yourselves. That's vosotros os miráis, or just os miráis. Up next, he looks at himself. And that is él se mira, or just se mira. Now, you look at yourself, talking to one person, the tú form. And that is te miras, or tú te miras, either one. All right, two more. They look at themselves, and let's use the other pronoun this time for they, the one that talks about boys and girls mixed, or just boys. They look at themselves. And that is ellos se miran, or just se miran. Finally, you look at yourselves, plural, the ustedes form. And that is ustedes se miran, or se miran. And friends, that wraps up this pretty short little episode right here. Hope you feel better about reflexive. Biggest thing is put that in your conversation. Learn as many reflexive verbs as you can. You know, you can Google that and get big list of reflexive verbs in Spanish, so you can bring in many more than we gave you on the YouTube lesson, and many more than we've used in this lesson. Now, the next lesson, next time we're together on episode 38, we'll be talking about some more reflexive verbs that you can bring in, so that'll help as well. And with that, I wish you paz y bendiciones, peace and blessings, and I'll see you next time on episode 38 when we practice those reflexive verbs. Hasta muy pronto, amigos.